Hey guys, Furum here, and today I will not be testing the Porsche 911 GT3 RS in multiplayer in Asphalt 9 because, well, I don't have the car. Jster has given me some races in his 4-star one, which has been upgraded with all epic import parts and normal ones that you can get at this stage, so we're at rank 3285. And we'll see that even at 4 stars, not entirely maxed, this car is quite a good competitor in Class B. This race was actually recorded during my stream against me in a purple F12 TDF. Go watch my stream if you want to see the other half of that. A lot of people are probably wondering just how good is this car inside of Class B, because at max it can go about 219 miles per hour, which is 3 miles per hour lower than the HURACAN. Well, it actually has some better traits than the HURACAN at max, meaning that when both cars are at max, they are actually extremely close in terms of lap time potential. Go watch Supersonic's video about the max HURACAN versus max 911 if you want to see what the difference is. Now, I have enough tokens so that I could unlock this car if I wanted to, but at this point I'm thinking it would most likely be better to try to save my tokens for the King of the Fall finale event, which is going to be coming presumably sometime after the Zenvo event finishes. Now, I'm only 4 blueprints away from getting the Zenvo. I'll be able to get it in this event pretty easily, possibly even 2-star, not entirely sure, but I would have been able to unlock without actually spending any tokens, which is partially due to the fact that I was able to get top 100 in the Zenvo multiplayer season and get 11 blueprints for the car from that. I'm glad Gameloft made it so it was a bit more skill-based to get the Zenvo and not entirely based on what cars you had. So Jster did manage to win this race, but I came in 2nd place, so Legions United power. In this next race, we'll see how Jster can do in multiplayer with this car against a 5-star HURACAN, so nearly max. There's something I find rather weird about this car, is that it is the 3rd Porsche 911 that is in the game, because we have the 911 GTS Coupe, and then we have the Targa, and now we have this one. I'm not exactly sure why they're adding so many of the same car, or many different kinds of the same model of car to the game, when there are many other cars, different models that people want to see added. I don't know, maybe they're just lazy, or perhaps there's some other reason to it. It's just something I wanted to point out, because ever since this car came out, and I mean even since really the Targa came out, I've been confused about why that's been happening. But this car definitely drives a lot better than those two. You can see there it has very good drifting radius, even at just 4 out of 6 stars. Its nitro efficiency is really good. Overall, it looks like a very fun car to drive. I think it would be in my best interest to not go for it at this point, since I have a maxed HURACAN and this car is about the same as that, approximately. So yeah, still think I'm going to save my 7,000 tokens or whatever for the next card. The Batista, I think, is going to be the super big one. And Jster does manage to beat this HURACAN by a couple of seconds. Something else interesting that has happened is that a Ginetta G60 car hunt has come. This was not something that I expected at all, but it is a very welcome addition. Because during the Jesco event, I got the car to 39 out of 42 to 4-star. And I'm not going to talk about the Jesco event again, because you know I could go on for a while about that. But thankfully, after just playing one race in that event with my Shelby GT3 50R, trusty little car, I did manage to 4-star it. So now I have another great car for some D-Class events. Now really, that car is not great in any particular D-Class event. I don't think it's king of D on any track, but it is pretty good in multiplayer, more so than in events, especially if we were to get another D-Class season. So I'm glad I was eventually able to get it at 4 stars. In this race, Jster is facing a Corvette Grand Sport, a Ferrari F12 TDF, and 2 SCGs that are like 200 rank above him, as well as a HURACAN that's at around 3000 rank. And he's just womping all over them. If you have the tokens to spare, because it'd probably take around 6,000 or so to unlock this thing, I'd say definitely go for it, especially if you don't have the HURACAN at max or at least close to it, because this car is basically a duplicate of that one. If you already have that car at max, there's really not much reason to go for this one in particular, unless it would really help you to get the Zenvo, which really you'd have to spend a whole lot of tokens in order to get many blueprints out of this, so I'm not entirely sure what to tell you in that case. So in this race we're facing a similarly ranked Apollo N, but a Sin R1 and F12 TDF that are like 400 to 500 rank above. And this car, of course, is not invincible. It has a weakness, which is its fairly low top speed for the class. Again, it only reaches 219 at max, meaning that at this rank, it cannot go even that fast. And as you guys know, cars like the F12 TDF and Sin R1, and even a maxed Asterion could probably go faster than this car at this rank. So if you have a track such as Scotland, or some Cairo tracks, or things like that, Himalayas perhaps as well, you're gonna maybe struggle a bit against some of those other B-class cars in Gold League that are definitely faster. They may not be as agile, but we can see the Sin R1 here is definitely giving some very good competition. And coming into this long straight section at the end, where there's not really many curves at all, we can see him begin to pass. These easy-to-drive cars are great if you don't get a track such as this one against a driver in a fast car that knows what he is doing, which does not happen as often as you might think, so that's why people like to take out their Corvettes and Huracans and cars like that. Now, after the DSE Tense's Nitro has been nerfed, I'm not sure if it will be as common as it was in this 2-month period or whatever there was between this current update and the previous one. However, as far as I know, all of its other stats are the exact same as they were buffed to in the previous update, so don't worry about it losing all of its potential. It's just not going to be some amazing D-class killer like it currently is. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to record races in it, or I just really didn't, because I didn't honestly expect it to get fixed this soon. But I may have driven it a few times in my stream, so if you really wanted to see me driving it, I suppose you could hunt for that. But the reason I didn't try to make a video about it was because I had just made a video about the E-Tense like a week or two before the update dropped, and so I usually like to wait at least several weeks in between making a video about the same car. Now, sometimes if there's a car that's like super powerful or something and I can get videos of it at multiple stars, yeah, then I might do some closer together, sort of like I did with the Aventador J a while back with Rulu, and probably the Jesco as well. Things like that I might do. But if there's a car that's at the same rank and not like a super whole lot has changed about it, I'm probably not going to make another video about it right away, because I have other priorities, new cars, and things like that. So now you know a bit more my philosophy that goes behind making my videos. Here, Jster comes in first again, ahead of a nearly 4,000 rank Apollo N that, weirdly enough, got beat by about 3,000 rank another Apollo N and a 3,000 rank Pininfarina. That's not something you see every day. The Apollo is one of those interesting cars that is actually better, generally speaking, in events than multiplayer due to its rather mediocre nitro efficiency compared to some of the other high-end B-class cars. And that's why a lot of people who end up using it in multiplayer don't fare as well as those that do with the Huracan and F12 TDF, simply because those cars are, well, easier to drive for the majority of people. Now, if you're a person that can deal with those high top speed, low nitro efficiency cars very well, go for it. You're really going to make a killing in multiplayer, but I'd say for most people, the Apollo N is actually going to be more useful in some events. That being said though, the B-Class Elite event, which is the main thing where really good B-Class cars are needed, it's on Rome, so the Huracan kills it there. So, poor Apollo N. In this race, Jster is being chased by a 3,500 rank Corvette Grand Sport, who he is managing to outrun due to, well, it being on Himalayas, and the 911 GT3 RS does definitely have at least better top speed than the Corvette, although only by 3 miles per hour. Still, it was enough in this race, and we come in first. And before I forget to mention it, I am planning to release a video about the Aston Martin GT12 soon. So, now it's time for our final race, in which our biggest competitors are a higher ranked Huracan by a couple hundred rank, and there's a Corvette Grand Sport as well. Now it's time for my general review about this car. Now, I know I've said a whole lot about it already in the video, so I'm not sure exactly what more there is to cover. But I will say that it is really just a great agile car along the same lines as the Huracan. It has almost the exact same sort of lap time capability at max, and overall it looks like a very fun car to drive. It is very good in every department except for top speed. So again, like the Huracan, like the Corvette Grand Sport, cars like that, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm sure that if a lot of people are actually going to be able to get this car, it will show up a bit in multiplayer, especially if Gameloft makes more ways to get blueprints for it later. It's going to be one of those spammed cars, I can just tell already. So as we near the end of this race, this 3,600 rank Huracan appears to be quite close behind, but around these next coming turns, Jster manages to make the distance a bit further, and especially after going across this lake. This lake was one of those things that I struggled with originally when this map came out, but I believe I've gotten a bit better at it, and here Jster takes the victory. Thank you to RPM Jster for these races, and thank you all for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt, Forza, and Minecraft content, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye!